Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Ball podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark. Welcome to the News Hour, the first one for June 2025, which means we're almost roughly halfway through the year. I don't know exactly when the 180th second day or whatever technically halfway point would be but we are definitely in the middle month, so it's kind of crazy. A lot of things personally and stuff coming to a head here, along with video game stuff. So we'll get some house cleaning out of the way first. This week is Summer Games Fest at the end of the week, along with the Switch 2 release. I did not pre-order a Switch 2. I'm not sure if Tom did. So I don't know if we'll have any coverage that way. But there will be a lot on the News Hour next week of just news about the release. We will also be trying to talk over as many of the press conferences as we can as quickly as possible. It might just be me. It might just be me. It may be me and Tom. We'll let you know. We're going to do every press conference that we can and every direct or, whatever they want to call it here. Most of them will be live. Some may be taped, so you may need to go to YouTube to see our reactions. Just for a point, we have been sort of avoiding Xbox news and stuff ever since the BDS boycott because of their ongoing support of, the Israeli military through the Azure program. But for Summer Games Fest, we're going to do a little disclaimer at the beginning of the press conference and, talk about that press conference, that stuff there, because I can't fully ignore it, but we do have to let people know that this is going on and make them aware of it. And we also have some Xbox news here that we'll be talking about. But yeah, we'll be covering everything as much as we can. Some of the stuff, like the humble stuff, not the humble, the feel-good games. There's a term for it. We may not cover those, but we'll get to as much stuff as possible. We will definitely be doing a Summer Games Fest live. I will be live for that. The only way we're not live for that is if it's Thursday. I have not double-checked the dates yet. I just remembered that if it is Thursday, there's a chance I might not be around. Because, as you know, for those of you that are fans of the podcast or are streaming, my oldest niece plays softball for her high school, and they have had a pretty good season. They're in the current state championship tournament. If they win tonight, or today, or they will play again on Thursday at a place I do not know. It probably won't be at home, so that puts everything in limbo in terms of if Summer Games Fest is Thursday. I'm hoping it's Wednesday, to be honest, or Friday or something like that. Because the game can be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours away from my home, so we'll see how it goes with that. But besides that, everything else, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, any of the third-party EA, Ubisoft, we'll do all those. We'll do any of the indie showcases and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of coverage coming up, and then next week, maybe Sunday instead of the News Hour, we'll record Podcast Prime. I just got to see how the schedules line up for everything. But just to know, there's going to be a lot of coverage on the Twitch and the YouTube here over Summer Games Fest coming up. So, and that's on top of if Summer Games Fest is not on Thursday, me and Tom will be here on Thursday or Friday, or we might just skip next week in terms of Final Fantasy VI just because of scheduling stuff. Tonight, we're going to be playing a new game, which will be a surprise to everyone because I ran out of time to figure out what game I'm going to be playing. So it'll be a surprise for everyone. It'll probably be a platformer, either NES, Sega, or Super Nintendo platformer. I've been having a lot of fun with those games, or non you know, games sort of like that. They're a little bit on the shorter side, and things that I can save state if need be and stuff like that. So tune in tonight for what the new Retro Roulette game is. It is unbeknownst to me as well right now. Yeah, so that'll do that. That'll basically do it. Depending on when the press conferences are, we may keep Trails on hiatus through this week. If not, we'll be back definitely with a new Trails second chapter on Saturday. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, and I think that'll lead us into what I've been playing, because the reason there has not been a Trails stream, and there was not one on Saturday, is because your boy has been really into Clair Obscur Expedition 33, as you heard last week. I did complete the game. I did finish it. Loved it a lot. We're going to be having our spoiler cast with Night Duck, Jonathan, in the chat. That'll probably be recorded after Summer Games Fest stuff. We'll work out a date and time for that to do it, and then that'll be released then. But it will not be just me talking over stuff. And I, as I tease for those of you that were here for the Soundcheck pre-show, I was up till about 4 o'clock this morning because I went through and platinumed the game. I got all the trophies, and it is only the second game I've ever platinumed. I've gotten really close on a lot, and some of the things have been really difficult, or they were multiplayer focused, and I just didn't want to do that. But yeah, this was one of the easier. Hey, Goat, how you doing? And when I say easier, I mean there wasn't anything outrageous in there. The hardest thing was beating one of the final main bosses, which I'm not going to spoil here, but I will talk about it in the spoiler, which took me almost leveling everyone up to 99, and finally figuring out some of the, excuse me, I have an itch for those of you on video. Yeah, and figuring out how some of the skills worked in combination, specifically Shiel and Mael working together to basically one-shot this, the hardest boss in the game. I went through the challenge of fighting it for like 2 hours with my normal build and not trying to figure out how to break it. And then I just put it on pause, read through all the skills and all the things and how I figured out how things work together, and then just sort of made the build and went in, and I sent Night Duck a photo of a test fight that I did before fighting this boss, where I one-shotted the person I was fighting in the Endless Tower for 115 million points. So that's when I knew, I'm like, oh, yeah, we're ready. Because one of the things about the build I made was there is a, we'll go into detail about all this stuff, our builds and things we did. There was a Picto called Roulette, which 50% of the time you either hit for 50% damage, and or 200% damage. It was one or the other. And to one-shot this boss, I had to roll basically the crit, to win. Yeah, so I'm not even talking about the final. Yeah, the final boss was even before this crazy build. Didn't get a turn either. That's why I'm glad I watched the stream of somebody going in at level 55, and you got to see all the crazy story stuff for the final bosses that we did not get to see. But yeah, this was a final boss that you're recommended to be 90 plus level to beat, or really fucking good at parrying, because it's got this one move that I counted was 10 hits, I believe. And he swings 2 swords. So it was 20 parries you had to do in this one thing to parry the attack. So unless you're really fucking good at parrying, you had to basically break your build to beat him. But yeah, we'll talk about that more in the spoiler, but I am proud of myself. I got all the journals. I got all the records. Those are the only 2 things I looked up. Just because by the time I got to that point, and those were the only 2 I had left, it was 3 in the morning. And I'm like, I need to finish this, because this is the easy. Well, I had 3 things left to do. I missed the first thing that you can do in the game when I first played through, because I didn't know how to play the game yet, and it was a little too hard. So I literally had to get the final achievement, which is one of the first achievements you can get in New Game Plus. Yeah, that was the only time I used the guide, was for finding the records and finding the journals, which I only needed to find 4 journals of the 49 that there are through using a guide, and I wouldn't have found 2 of them without the guide. They were really hidden. And the records, I was only missing 1 that I did not know where it was. I forget where it was. I think it was I didn't know there was I'm trying to talk in vague terms here. I didn't know there was a manor door on the overworld map. And that was where the final record was that I did not have. Yeah. Thankfully, I found that and got it through, so I platinumed it. On the normal level, not expert or anything. That was one of the reasons why this was a very obtainable platinum, and I think just about everybody that plays the game, you can do it on story mode. Just about everybody can do it. Because they do not have a requirement of you beating it on the highest level to unlock it, which I appreciate. But yeah, it's fun. It's my game of the year so far. There's only like 2 or 3 games that I know are coming out that have any shot at beating it, and it'll be really fucking hard for them to beat it. This might be like one of my favorite games in 5 years. Yeah, I think Last of Us 2 might be the last game that, and then probably Persona 5 before that. I know I said that a bunch of times on here, that I absolutely, like, no doubt about it, was my game of the year. So, yeah, you'll be hearing more about Expedition 33 in the news, and also through our spoiler cast coming up. Besides that, I've been playing some more NHL 25. Again, love it. Doing some ridiculous things in there. I'm actually starting to get good at the game. I've started learning. I don't know if has anything to do with Clair Obscur in terms of my timing and stuff, but I'm getting a lot better at timing on defense, poke checking, and lifting sticks and deking around sticks, like just timing. A lot of my timing has been getting really good in the game, and I don't know if it's because of what I've been playing. And one thing to add for Clair Obscur, I did not have the hi-fi rush thing. When I went to a regular television that was not the preview window in OBS, I was still able to parry and dodge and all that with no problem. So we did not have the hi-fi rush issue where I was complete dog shit when I didn't have the delay. But yeah, so I've been playing those 2 games, and that's been mainly it for right now. Now I got about a month where I can fill time with things and maybe go back to stuff I was playing, maybe Avowed, maybe we're definitely going to get back into Trails on stream. Probably not this Saturday. It would be, I would say it's 50-50 for this Saturday. Like I said, I got to look at the schedule for Summer Games Fest before we commit to that. but it'll definitely be the week after. We'll say the 14th for sure, or that weekend or something, because everything should be done by that point in terms of softball stuff, graduation stuff. So we should be back to that, because we have until the end of the month when Death Stranding 2 releases. So yeah, I am looking forward to this month of just playing games that I haven't played and probably not streaming them. So, recharging my streamer batteries, because we're going to be going full bore like we did with Clair Obscur with Death Stranding 2. So, yeah. So I think that's it. That is all I have here. In terms of house cleaning, games I've been playing, stuff like that. Be sure to check out the YouTube channel for the Podcast Prime on podcast services. I think it's on YouTube as well. I'm not sure if Tom put it up there or not, but it is definitely on podcast services. Me and Tom got back together to do the main podcast, which is going to be a monthly one. So hopefully we can get Jen in at some point, just to chit-chat about games and stuff. So without further ado, let's get into the news. You should be seeing it now. Well, now I've just lost the mouse. So let me... And for some reason, I cannot see my mouse cursor. So this is going to be fun. Sorry. Okay. It's going to be really weird in the audio. I apologize for the thing. Maybe I can edit that out for the silence there. But, yeah. So we have the first story is talking about the Persona 4 remake that is definitely not happening. No need to worry about that because it is not happening. But I'm sure it's probably going to get announced at Summer's Games Fest or somewhere soon. But 2 more voice actors are saying they are definitely not returning for the unannounced game. So far, we've had Yuri Lowenthal, who plays Yosuke, say they're not going to be in it. And Erin Fitzgerald, who did Chie. I think she's the second Chie. Or the first one, I forget. There was 2 Chie English actors. And then Amanda Lee, who played Yukiko, said she was not in it. There's been some wild conspiracy theories around this, especially saying the fact that the voice actors are announcing they're not in the games in the order that you meet them in the game, so that means they're definitely in the games. But either way, this definitely means that there is something in the works because Yuri deleted a post where he said that he asked and even begged, but they didn't want him back. So, can't wait to see this for Summer Games Fest. This will be, we will definitely play it on stream. There's a thing about Persona 4 where it's a game I really loved. I came to it later. But there's some problematic things with it. Because it is a game very much kind of like there were some problematic things in 3. That they sort of smoothed out a little bit. They kept the head shooting in. Because that's kind of main to the game. But there are some things in 4 that just don't age well in 2025. So we'll see if they keep that stuff or if they, smooth it out or make some edits to it. But I would be excited if they do announce this game. So this is what Summer Games Fest season is all about. It's what E3 used to be about. Crazy shit like this being announced. So Yeah. Moving on. Oh. Speaking of Microsoft, as we said, the BDS boycott is still on because of their support of the Israeli military. But just to let you know, Microsoft has reportedly pulled back development on its own handheld to focus on third party. They had said they were planning on announcing or launching a handheld in 2027, but they have shifted their priorities to focus on going to more third-party games instead of announcing their own, proprietary handheld. So while you might not get Xbox branded handheld, you will definitely be getting Windows and probably Game Pass on some handheld at some point, or multiple handhelds at some point. So still the dream of what me and Tom were talking about and when this first was announced, that getting Game Pass on handheld should be one of the priorities for them. Because it is made for handheld. Game Pass is made for handhelds. So we'll see if anything ever comes to this. But it is curious to see them switching their what's it called? Priorities to more third party here. All right. Next up, in sadder news, EA waves goodbye to the Black Panther game, which they said was ambitious and special, and it breaks my heart to know the world will not see it. EA has shut down Cliffhanger, which was making a Black Panther 2 game. I keep saying Black Panther 2, a Black Panther game. They had announced it in 2023, but we knew it was going to be a single-player action-adventure open-world game. But little did we know much after that. It was being made by the Shadow of Mordor people, so we were hoping there might be a Nemesis system in it. But it ended up, never coming to see the light of day, and unfortunately, in that case, and it's just sad. Exactly. This is the letter that was sent says that cancellations and layoffs are being done to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. And I think the back-to-back chats, which you will see above my head, perfectly sum up everyone's feelings about this. From Metal Militia's Fuck EA to Night Duck's Boo Liars. Very much this is just EA trying to cover its ass for canceling the game that could be seen as problematic for canceling because of what the main character of that game would be. But yeah, it's insane. And it also shows how much Marvel fatigue there really is. I think the Thunderbolts got a good bump at the box office just because they're different. But that first Avengers lineup, I haven't seen, even Falcon, no enthusiasm for anybody in that really first line. I think Bucky being in Thunderbolts might be the only one. It's all the new people that are getting sort of the play. So I guess they didn't think there was anything more Black Panther-ish. But, a lot of things changed in November of 2024, and I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't an inkling of this occurring because of that. All right, moving on to some better news. Elden Ring Night Rain sells 2 million units on the first day. I have been watching some coverage on this. I The problem with this is I really only know one other person that really likes Elden Ring and Souls games. Um, and I believe he likes them a good bit, but maybe not. I know Night Duck does. Um, uh, don't know how much he would be invested in Night Rain here, but unfortunately they're not doing duos yet. So finding a third person would be tough to even play this. But besides that, it seems like this game is very mixed reviews in a lot of ways because I guess to get the most out of it, you do have to have a team of 3, like that you can talk to and strategize with. Playing with randoms seems to be wildly inconsistent, like most times playing with randoms are. But yeah, and some of the things about now having a double jump and just all the little minor changes, and just from what I've seen of streams, they don't really explain much of the game up front to you, even through the tutorial. You just get some of the mechanics, but not really like, what's this wall mean? Why should we do this? Where should we go? And it sort of was trial and error for a couple people I saw that didn't play any of the preview builds. So, yeah, but it seems to be selling well, just like Elden Ring did. I mean, Elden Ring is one of the best games of all time, so I'm not surprised that this got the big boost right away. But there's a worry that word of mouth might not be as good as it was with Elden Ring. So we'll see where those sales numbers are in the next couple months or so. Speaking of games that have sold a lot because of word of mouth, Clair Obscur X33 sells 3.3 million copies in 33 days. And I feel like this is this headline is calling me out a little bit. The next sentence in the headline, not bad for a game that some thought was going to get crushed by the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion's remaster. Yeah, I'll admit, I said it on this podcast here, that I was a little worried as soon as they dropped Oblivion the week before Clair Obscur. I was worried that this game would get buried. Get the, what's it called? The Horizon treatment, where Horizon Zero Dawn came out the week before Breath of the Wild and then the week before Elden Ring. And sort of got buried because of when it came out. But this thing's a phenomenon. It is very much, I don't know, there's a lot of hyperbole going around. Some people saying it's the Final Fantasy VII of this generation. I just think it's hitting on a lot of the things that made, that game great. In the sense that it's using things that have been around a while, like Final Fantasy VII using turn-based combat and, the systems it used in a different way and focusing more deeply on story in a way. I was just going to get to, it's like, it very much figured out how to do both turn-based and action at the same time and be insane in its process. Like I said, we're going to talk a lot about this in the spoiler cast. I'm sure me and Night Duck are probably pretty similar in most of our opinions on this, but I think the hyperbole is a little bit too much. But I can absolutely see this being sort of like how a lot of people start playing RPGs. Who didn't really start. I played Super Mario RPG before playing FF7, but I didn't play any RPGs before that. FF7 was my first one, and I've been hooked ever since. Went back and beat 6 and was like, that is my favorite of the ones. But I feel like this game could very much do that for turn-based combat going forward. I don't think it'll have as much of an impact for people going back because there's way too much difference here. You might have some people going back and maybe trying a Kingdom Hearts or the remake stuff that didn't try it before. to see. But Clair Obscur had a great mixture of music, story, voice acting, combat, weapon system. It was pretty much a perfect storm. I wouldn't say lightning in a bottle, because we don't know that yet. If they can't release another game, yeah, I agree with Night Duck. For those of you listening, he said they should play Fantasian or FF13 if you really like this game. And as someone who plans on playing Fantasian and has played, unfortunately, all 3 Final Fantasy 13 games, yeah, one of my nemesis is Lightning Returns. But I agree 100% with that statement. Yeah, this is very well done. And I want to see where they go next. There's so much they can do in this world, because they established a couple things that you can, like I said, spoiler cast will get into all this, but that you can go for future games. But not bad for a game. However you want to wrap it. There was 30 developers. Yes, they did outsource and had a publisher, so maybe it's not technically indie. But I think that's a weird hill to die on. This game is not made with a AAA studio level of people or budget. So, interesting to see where they go if they get a little more resources. And also puts to shame some of those games that came out previously. And other very marked news, EA Sports College Football 26 was revealed. The reveal trailer occurred. I was going to do a video on that, but things came up to where I wasn't going to get it in time before this. And it would have looked really weird if I had that video after this. So, just not going to do the video. But I will say, one of the great additions, as you can see, if you can see this photo here, is they are now introducing the real-life coaches to the sideline, not generic coaches. They're doing a lot more focus on their playbooks and stuff like that. So that should be cool. Road to the Show, Jesus. The Heisman thing, the single-player mode, starts you off in high school. It's some weird stuff that I was seeing that seemed like they're sort of getting there. I think next year, 27 or 28 will have the best, Road to Glory, or I think that's what it's called. Going forward, but they're getting closer and closer, and hopefully franchise is a little less bare bones than it was this year. But yeah, the most important news is that they somehow convinced Metallica to let them use Enter Sandman. So now one of the greatest entrances in college football, at night in Blacksburg, for Virginia Tech, will now be officially in the game as intended. And I am very much looking forward to see if they got any other. Yeah, I mean, it's money. It's how they got it done. Because that's basically, they just wrote a giant check to Lars Ulrich, and he allowed them to use it. But what got me most excited, I sent the text in all capital letters to Tom when I heard it in the trailer, is I want to see what other songs they got. Because there were quite a few songs that were missing from that are traditional for some entrances and stuff like that. So let's see if they got them all. Also, I would like more than just a drum line in the menu screen. Maybe we can get the college fight songs or something this time, or something, because that drum line just became almost worse than the Amagon song in your head. So I'm very much looking forward to this. It's coming out sometime in July. You will be hearing a lot about this on the show. So next up, speaking of Summer Games Fest stuff, Ubisoft just dropped an image of Sam Fisher on their Twitter. Who knows? Um, so, I mean, like the thing says they had announced like some weird that Steam achievements were put in for the 12-year-old game. Or are they announcing a new Splinter Cell at Summer Games Fest at their thing? There, who knows? Just one of the weirdest stories I saw this week in my peripheral and had found and pulled on the IGN was just essentially just a headshot of Sam Fisher. What does it mean? Maybe we'll find out next week. But that's what this time of year is all about. That's what I love about the summer in video games here. You get stupid shit like this from Ubisoft. Yeah, so next up, for those of you that love Cyberpunk 2077, the sequel just entered pre-production. And yes, CD Projekt Red is officially calling it Cyberpunk 2. I doubt we're going to see this anytime before 2030. Excuse me. Because they are working on Witcher 4 now, and that's probably a 2027, 2028 release. So I doubt this comes out anytime before 2030, which is insane to say that year out loud. But yeah, they're just starting to build up for the release here. So we'll see what that means. When we'll see it first time, who knows? But I am glad to see they are going to continue, because even through all the trouble, Cyberpunk had a really interesting idea. The world in the tabletop game is very much a lot you can pick from, and a lot more time. Look forward to playing it in 2077. Oh, not too far off. Yeah, so there's a lot they could do with the sequel. That could be either a prequel or a sequel, depending on how they want to do it. But the way the original game ends, I don't know if you'll be carrying your V over, but I'd be down for creating another character in that world. Yeah, so we have Cyberpunk and Witcher, both announced by CD Projekt Red. I think they're two different studios too, so maybe it can be a little sooner, but I don't think it's going to come anywhere close to the same time as Witcher 4. Just for marketing purposes. I doubt they have two separate marketing departments. So, all right, and finally, because I'm losing my voice a little bit, we have our PlayStation Plus monthly games for June. And some of them were pretty interesting. I already downloaded one of these. I got Destiny 2 to Final Shape. I don't know. I don't have Destiny on PlayStation, I don't think. So I don't know what that means, but I just made sure I got it. But the big one is NBA 25, 2K25, which they do every year. I think I have every 2K25 game that was released in this manner since like 21. So I am looking forward to it for sure. I don't know how much I'll actually play of it, because it's last season's game. But I go in there and fuck around for a little bit. Maybe play some of the WNBA stuff with Caitlin Clark in there. But yeah, so that is the major game. But you do have Alone in the Dark, the 2024 version. That's coming on June 3rd. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, which I heard good things about. That's coming on June 3rd. And then Destiny 2, the Final Shape, as I mentioned, will be coming. It's already out. So the game catalog, this is exclusive. This is like for extra and premium deluxe people. Another Crab's Treasure has been released. Skull and Bones, Destiny 2 Legacy Collection. So I guess they're combining those two together. Grand Theft Auto 3. And in the Classics catalog, you're getting Mist and Riven. And then the premium and deluxe members have new game trials for Kingdom Come Deliverance and Civilization 7. Which, once again, Civ 7, a video game that I have purchased and completely forget about that I purchased it. still a wild moment for me when I realized that out of the blue remembered that I had purchased that video game. So we'll see if I gotta wait for the next refresh or the next expansion to see if the same thing happened with 6. So I will keep you guys updated on that if you have any interest. But yeah, and also as you can see on the bottom if you're watching the video, Days of Play has discounts and stuff like that if you're looking to buy PlayStation games. Now's the time sort of look in right around Summer Games Fest time, as they usually have some of their best deals on video games. So that's going to do it for us here. A little short of an hour, a little bit longer than I thought it would be, since I am kind of exhausted. But as I mentioned, we'll be back this evening with a mystery game that I will need to decide beforehand. And then we'll be back all week for Summer Games Fest coverage. So stay tuned. I may pop in for Tuesday or Wednesday random stream on something, just to update you on the schedule once I look into it a little bit more. But yes, we will be doing huge Summer Games Fest coverage, including, yes, even though we put a slight shadow ban on them, we will be covering Microsoft stuff, just so we're not completely in the dark when we're talking about our comparisons and things like that. So be on the lookout for that. Thursday is up in the air for Final Fantasy VI due to Nice's possible softball game. Saturday also up in the air for Trails in the Sky. But we'll definitely be back on Sunday with either Podcast Prime or a News Hour, depending on what press conference schedules or not. Worst case, we'll be doing on the 13th. We will be recording Podcast Prime recapping Summer Games Fest. So we'll just see when everything is, and we'll keep you abreast on everything. So just be on the lookout for that. And then after that, we'll have regular schedule for about 2 weeks, and then on Friday, the Friday after it releases, Death Stranding 2. We might even do release day stuff, but Death Stranding 2 is the next big thing that'll be invading this stream for the next month and a half. So be on the lookout for that. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. I will see you tonight for some Retro Roulette Endurance Run. But for now, take care and bye.